Ghost versus WordPress. 5 reasons you want to build your next blog, brand, and business on the Ghost publishing platform. Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from Mindful Marketplace, and as some of you know, we've just released a brand new course on building a members and newsletter powered blog using the Ghost publishing platform. This is for those of you who want to create a community, a private community, or a premium publication where you're charging for content, where you are getting subscribers, you're building a brand that has a members only component to it, and all of those sorts of higher end functions that you really can't do quite so easily on WordPress. So I did record a short audio for a small group of clients a couple days ago in advance of this new course, which folks in my community have already started to take. It's available at the link below if you're interested. But here are some of the reasons that I think if you are thinking about building a blog in 2021, you may want to consider Ghost as an alternative to WordPress. So I'm going to read these. This is basically just a presentation that I gave. It's only a couple minutes, and I thought it might be helpful for some of you listening as well. So number one, Ghost makes memberships really, really easy. So if you're selling restricted content or protecting your content for subscribers or members, Ghost makes this really, really easy. It also makes it very easy to do this in a hybrid way. So some of your content may be free, some of your content may be for members only, and some of your content may be for VIP members or paid members only. So this makes Ghost a really, really good alternative to most of the software as a service sort of membership kind of platforms like Podia or even Gumroad, both of which we use, even something like Circle, which we use and recommend. You can do all of the things that you can do on those platforms using something like Ghost for memberships and subscriptions. Now, the one sort of caveat to that is if you're building like a Facebook style group, like something like Circle does really, really well, you can't really do that on Ghost quite the same way. There are some plugins. There's something called Cove, which allows you to extend the comment functionality within the Ghost platform that kind of emulates a community style setup. But if you're really looking for sort of real interactivity between your members with profiles and pictures and sort of, all that kind of thing, then that's one thing that you may want to use an external service like Circle for instead. All right, so that aside, unlike WordPress, there are no plugins, no outside integrations, or no premium extensions required to set up a premium membership style site with Stripe-enabled e-commerce. All of that by dint of checking a single box or a toggle within your Ghost backend. All you have to do is really go into the lab section and toggle on the members switch, and immediately you'll have a members enabled platform that you can charge money for folks to access. Again, I would encourage you, if you're interested in this, you can check out our new course. It's really affordable, and it walks you through the exact steps that you need to do to facilitate all of this in about 90 minutes. All right, number 2, it's really easy to launch a newsletter using Ghost. By default, you can actually have all of your content emailed out via a newsletter to your subscribers, to your readers, to your audience by dint of, again, toggling on a simple switch. Now, this is a great way, as we all know, of engaging your audience once they sign up for your site. Doesn't require any further integrations, no other plugins, no other real configuration. Although there is some there's some configuration if you're going to use the default Ghost email provider, which is Mailgun, I believe. We actually use Review for this, so I recommend. So you can actually tie this together using a Zapier integration. I think it's pronounced Zapier, but you can create all these sort of integrations very simply using Ghost. We did that again with Review, and I recommend that you check that out as well via the course content where I walk through how to set that up. It's very easy. The Mailgun default configuration using Ghost Pro is also very, very easy to facilitate, so that's certainly worth checking out as well. All right, certainly very much easier than WordPress, no matter, even if there are a couple small steps that you need to configure. It's certainly a shit ton easier than having to wrangle with various WordPress plugins that update and don't update and all that stuff. You have to micromanage to ensure this stuff continues to work once it's set up on a platform like WordPress or Shopify, etc. All right, number 3. Ghost has a really unique and eclectic selection of premium themes. If you look again at some of the recorded content, the video content that I've done on our own Ghost stuff, including, once again, the course that I just recorded, you can see the visual aesthetic that you can accomplish using Ghost very, very quickly. Certainly, they don't have the quantity of themes that are available on some of the other blogging platforms like a WordPress or a Squarespace or a Shopify or that sort of platform, but the Ghost themes that are available are really beautiful and really well thought out, and they're really well constructed, in my view anyway, which is obviously a subjective opinion, but in my view, for a professional publication, that you really can't compare to those available on something like WordPress. And again, I'm no WordPress hater. I've built hundreds of sites using WordPress, or have consulted with folks who are running WordPress on hundreds of projects. It is a great platform. I appreciate it. I'm grateful for it. And it definitely has its role in publishing in 2021, no doubt. I have no doubt that I'll continue to use WordPress, but wherever possible, I would certainly recommend something like Ghost as a upgrade over WordPress in just about all the most salient categories that one ought to, value when it comes to publishing a blog, a brand, or a business publication in 2021. Ghost makes it really, really easy to design these beautiful, smooth, refined, and polished publications that have a very reader-friendly aesthetic. And I find there's far and few between the WordPress themes that make that equally as attractive. And there's no, these builders and these Elementor and WP bakeries like Visual Composer. That to me is torture. Like, that is the quintessential definition of suffering to me, to have to spend my time not creating content like this or writing content like this, but actually like aligning my content or playing around with some sort of building tool that is just like it's I hate it. And there's nothing like that in Ghost. It's all very, very intuitive, and I just think the themes work. All right, number 4. The post-editing experience using Ghost is so far superior to that of other platforms, certainly compared to something like WordPress, and certainly, in my view, something like Squarespace or Shopify. It is just a joy to write in Ghost. It's beautiful, it's easy, it's elegant, it's efficient. And, to my mind, you want things that are going to actually encourage you to write, right? I mean, if you're writing content, if content creation is the thing that you're doing, then you don't want things that create friction, with regard to your flow, right? And WordPress, like I just mentioned, with the page builders, and even if you get a great theme, you find out that you got to like navigate all of these different like blocks and drag and drop. I have no interest in doing that. I want to create content. The writing experience has very little clutter in Ghost. It's very aesthetically appealing. I actually really enjoy the process of creating content, adding links. You can integrate all these third-party apps and services into your post by virtue of their like bookmark cards and all the different like really kind of different elements that you can just drop into your posts, and it just simplifies the process of writing content. Now if you're curating content, which is different than creating content, but if you're curating content like adding links and other elements from other external URLs or resources, Ghost makes this really super easy by dint of their bookmark feature, and I think that's what it's called anyway. And these, it adds the ability of adding rich cards or these really rich media elements from other external resources. I'm probably saying that incorrectly from the jargon standpoint, but in my dummy remedial understanding of the tools and the tech, it just adds this rich kind of markup experience to creating content that's just a joy to use. And I think pretty much everyone would agree, even folks who may ultimately go back to WordPress from something like Ghost. It's much more enjoyable to write content in Ghost than it is on WordPress. And I think that's probably, while it's a subjective statement, I think it's probably to some degree empirically true. All right. Number 5, all right, if you're building a brand or a publication or a platform that involves more than just your own thoughts, your own content, your own contributions to the community. In other words, if you're building a multi-author platform, Ghost makes it very, very easy to incorporate multi-author publishing across your platform. This is, again, done by virtue of the ease they bring to the process of inviting your audience or your target market or your professional peers, anyone that you want to actually contribute content to your community. They get a link, they get their own login. They get this beautiful back-end writing experience, the same publishing experience that you get, they get as well, with just a little bit of a trimmed down, kind of permission structure. It really opens up an ocean of opportunity to expand your brand by inviting other folks to contribute content to your community, right? It's easy on you as the administrator. It's also super easy for the folks who you may want to solicit to contribute content to your community. Now, if you've ever tried to do something like this on WordPress, there are plugins that do this, but it's very, very difficult to make it work right. Now, certainly there will be people listening to this who will be rolling their eyes and maybe saying, well, they've done it, or they have a multi-author blog already and it's easy. I have not found that to be the case. I've used tons of themes and plugins that have this multi-author functionality built in, and it's usually an uphill slog to invite people, to get them to sign in, to not have them see the back end of your WordPress, all this other sort of it's a shitty experience. You'll forgive my language, but it's just a shitty user experience on WordPress, even with some of the better plugins. Using something like Ghost, it's seamless. It's sexy, if that's even a euphemism that applies here, and it just works, right? I've purchased high-end WordPress themes that are multi-author centric, and even had customized plugins made that still don't really get the job done with something that Ghost does by default, right? So, that to me, especially if you're building a marketplace where you may want to encourage your multi-author blog audience, or the folks who are contributing content to your community, to add their own, products or courses or content or events, etc., etc. All this can be done through the same elegant editor that you have access to as the administrator. They can use these rich cards and embed this external media that promotes their own stuff. This can all be searchable, so you can really extend this idea of a multi-author blog in some very cool and creative ways using this basic, fundamental truth, right? All right, so that's pretty much the 5 reasons. There are some other things as well. I don't really want to go too far afield. I did cover these things in this call that I did the other day. But, there are integrations available using, Zapier. You can build your newsletter list, your type form, submissions, your MailChimp list. We're using something like Review, which is something I recommend for building a curated newsletter style community of content. That integrates beautifully with Ghost. The functionality of tying those two things together literally took me about 90 seconds. I actually did this also on video for this new course, so you can watch that as well. It's really, really super simple to add integrations that allow you to expand your brand and to do all sorts of automated, workflow-oriented, outcome-oriented, tasks that WordPress just doesn't do nearly as efficiently. I don't think Shopify, which I have less experience with, but I have some experience with, does well either. And all this is really beautifully integrated, well thought through, and really just fundamentally works as designed by the Ghost crew. So I really recommend checking out Ghost if you're interested in building something that is easy to use, that is fun to build, and that you're proud of, right? It's important to be proud of something that you're building. I find that most people who are building this sort of thing on WordPress, because there are so many themes and WordPress is so, it's just everywhere. So there's so many, themes that are just replicated over and over again, and plugins, and you lose the sense of originality when it comes to building a platform on WordPress quite often. People generally end up abandoning their projects. So these premium frameworks, you buy it and you're excited about it on day one, and 100 days later, when 2,000 other people have bought the same theme and have the same exact look and feel, etc., it's just easy to feel like your whole community has been commoditized to the point where it's no longer interesting and you're just not proud of it. I think that Ghost is the alternative to that notion. It's very boutique. It's not, I'm forgetting the word that I kind of want to use here. It's not everywhere. It's not omnipresent, I guess, for lack of the right word. And I think there's a level of exclusivity and a real premium touch that you'll be proud of as you grow your blog, your brand, and your business in 2021. I encourage you to check out the course if you're interested in seeing how quickly you can build something that looks pretty cool in about 90 minutes. The course is affordable. We're also going to be doing some development work for those of you who want all this done for you. And if you sign up for the course, you can actually take the price of the course off of the service if you decide that's something that you're interested in doing. But nonetheless, all this is just to say that it's a great time to be a niche community owner. There are a lot of great tools out there, and in my view, Ghost is at the very top of that list of tools and tech and software and services that really make life easy. Okie doke. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions, as always, send me an email, hi@mindfulmarketplace.com, Or you can connect with me on Twitter. I actually quit Facebook. I know lots of people are still asking me about Facebook because I used to be quite active with our Mindful Marketplace page. But just connect with me on Twitter, Ian Hollander at Twitter. I'm there a little bit more than I am elsewhere on social media, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Okie doke, thank you so much, and again, have a wonderful day.